Hiya, welcome to Hit the Bar, the Shrimps fans panel. We're joined today by returning pundits. We have Mark here and Freddie, and between them we have Dylan. Dylan, first time on the show. Thanks very much for coming.
Thank you.
Quite a bit to talk about, I think, this week since we last spoke, but I'm going to start with that performance against Mansfield, because going into that game with the players that we'd lost, and all right, we brought a few in, but we were expecting them to take a little while to settle. I was worried about that game. I remember I spoke to some Mansfield fans outside, and I was like, "Can we settle for a draw right now?" And they were, yeah. And I would have settled for a draw immediately, but in the end, come to you first, Mark. We could have won that one, couldn't we?
Tell you what, I mean, like most Morecambe fans, I was worried going into the game. Mansfield at the second, I think they were at the time, weren't they? And
could have gone top with the winner.
Yeah, they've been on fire all season. Obviously, we've lost 5 very good players, but what a performance! I mean, the 3 that came in. I mean, Mayer made a fantastic save to tip it onto the bar, and Joe Adams. Amazing pace right from the. Yeah. Who's this guy? Yeah, so that was brilliant. It was thoroughly deserved, like you say. Could have really gone on to win the game, really. You know, so I think Jed said afterwards, Mansfield will be well pleased with the draw, and I think he's right. You know, so that was great.
What stood out for you, Dylan, in that game particularly?
To be honest, it was a big surprise for me. Really, I wasn't there, but everything I've seen, every reaction, been quite positive, and the togetherness, considering that we've just had like a big overturn of key players out and now we've got new players in, but I think everyone just wants to see them come together, and like if we're on that pitch we just want 100%, and as long as they can do that for us, you know, the results will start to come based on that, I'd say.
Yeah. For the outstanding players for you on the day?
I thought Adams played well, as we've said. I thought he, I said to Mark earlier, he just came in as if he's been in the team for a few weeks, and he was just straight running at the opposition. I think that's exactly what you want, and I think that makes us feel a bit more comfortable going in with all these new players into the second half of the season. But I was really happy as well.
And Gwion Edwards put in a good performance. He showed that he knows what he's doing, and a bit of pace there as well.
Yeah, no, I was happy with him as well. I thought he proved from Swansea, got a bigger cameo, to be fair. But he's got a good record, so hopefully he just needs to find a bit of form, and he should be good.
And I mean, no surprises that they both came off the pitch, because they're not match fit yet.
But not played a lot of them.
I mean, you know, Adams, you kind of think, why have we never heard of him before? Yeah. I mean, I know Wigan have picked him up, but he's been at Eastleigh. He's not played a Football League game.
No.
You know, and looking at the maturity he showed. That's a surprise, isn't it?
If he can carry on like that, I mean, I think so far this season, probably Eli King's probably been my pick of the players. But as a swap, if he can carry on like that, wow, fantastic!
Fabulous debut at the very least.
Yeah,
and I mean, I was there with a group of friends. We were in hospitality. We won through a draw and a table in hospitality. So I kind of wondered whether it was just because we were in a good mood and we'd had a couple of drinks and we were all happy that we came in thinking, what a fantastic game. But still, on social media, there's been people saying it's the best game they've seen for years at the Mizuno.
The resilience, especially I think against such a good side that went unbeaten and won a lot of their start of the season, just for them to come to our place and for us to give them a good game where they haven't dominated it completely. We've had the better chances and we could have won it. It kind of just shows the resilience and that we are building back up the fortress at the Mizuno, that we've started to crumble on a bit, but I think we can build that back up and bounce off that.
And on that, obviously, we've brought in the 3 players so far. Another one this week, we've seen Jed Garner come in from Barra. Have you had time to have a little look at what he's about?
Not too much. I think he's got much of a good record, but as you've seen with Adams, you just got to get a hungry player in. And with Melanie, he didn't have a great track record until he came to us. Get a hungry player in and work with them for half a year and see what happens.
With a point to prove as well, isn't it?
And that's all we can do with the current circumstances in terms of budgets. And
I mean, Mike, that's the thing. I have one of my daughter's boyfriend. The boyfriend of one of my daughters, not one of my daughters, got a lot of boyfriends. He's a Barra fan, and he was laughing when we signed him because he didn't rate him. But we've seen before, haven't we? Players can not show with one team and then absolutely bloom at another one. That's what we're hoping for from him.
I mean, he's got a point to prove, hasn't he? So it's definitely the position that I think we've all, obviously when Mellon went back to Burnley, I think it's the position that we know we need to fill. Whether he's the man for, let's hope he is, you know. I do still think that Morecambe could do with a big old-fashioned centre forward, like a Tom Pope or like a Matt Reed.
He's not a small lad, is he? You know, and he's been playing out wide at different clubs and stuff like that. Because I mean, Sluey, he gives 100% every game, and he's had some really good games this season.
He has,
but he's not what you would call a target man scorer.
He's not, no.
Dylan, do you think that this is where we'll be trying to push Jed Garner into?
I'd hope so. I'd say throughout the season we've been decent at crossing, especially, you know, when we've had players overlap deep and we've been putting the ball in the box. I know Mellon's not a big physical guy, so most of the crosses have just come over the top to whoever's at the back, or we've had to put it on the floor, but he's 6'2", Jed, so I'm hoping that we'll benefit from the good crossing positions we're getting, and just because his highlights that I've seen, he's just getting his head on it no matter what, he's just jumping at the ball, and I think we need someone who's got a point to prove, hungry, and will literally just go for the ball whenever he can, because that's all it needs sometimes, just a little touch. It's in the back of the net.
And we have got players who can cross, haven't we, Freddie? You know, we've lost Bloxham, but we've got Guion Edwards now. We know Sluey can. We know Adam Mayer can.
Sluey can hold the ball on the wing as well, and then can play off it there. Just to side note, I think this spell has been so much better than his first spell.
It has, I mean, we saw him at Forest Green.
I think that was the turning point.
Absolutely terrorised Forest Green. They couldn't live with him.
We were watching him, weren't we? And he did a 50-50 chance, came away with the ball, went down and crossed it over. We thought, wow. And he never put a foot wrong after that. Didn't he? He was brilliant.
Absolute terror. So, I mean, we're hoping that maybe that's Jed Garner's position. We know that Jed Brannan has said that he wants to bring in another couple of players, maybe another one this week. What position are we looking at? Dylan, what position would you like to see us now strengthening?
I'm going to have to say, I'm going to go for centre-back, which might not be everyone's, you know, first thing to say, but I think if we're going to start playing back five and a back three, we're going to need that cover. Stokes is a bit of an older guy, and Badeau, he works so hard that by the end of the game, he's just straight on the floor. He's gassed. And
so you're thinking more of cover there?
I am. I'm thinking of covering options, because obviously we know we've got central defenders who will dominate in the air. They win the aerial duels quite often, which is important, because if we miss one of them, it's a physical league, isn't it? You know, the balls are coming in. We need someone to deal with that. Badeau's tired. He can't track back, and we're going to concede goals.
Plus, of course, Badeau on Saturday played him out wide.
Left back, wasn't he?
And that worked really well.
Of course, we lost Connolly as well, didn't we?
Yes.
And he was a good centre defender, wasn't he?
So,
Freddie, for you, what position would you like to see somebody come in?
I think another centre midfielder, to be honest.
Right.
Because it looks like at this point it's going to be potentially Jan and Love in the middle. I think they're very similar in terms of.
With Adams, of course, you know.
Sure.
But another midfielder.
Very similar in terms of what they offer. So I think if you try and get someone like Eli King as well as box to box, fill that a bit more. I think that's the main priority. But what they do on Saturday, I don't think we had.
They've not seen that performance for him, have we?
We've not seen in his locker that he can run with the ball.
He was getting forward as well.
Really well. And Jed, very subtly, is changing the format of the team, isn't he? He's not doing wholesale changes from how Derek set up. Very subtly, he's just. And if you noticed in the Mansfield game, I thought what was quite clever. They were enormous at the back. So any ball that was played high, they just won it. Flint was there, and the other centre back was there, but we played everything low on the deck.
Yes,
and it really worked, didn't it, Dylan? Do you think? Can you see where Jed's sort of altering things?
Yeah, I'm quite a fan of just drilling it across the floor, to be honest. Just because half the time a centre back might just misplace a foot, goes in between, forward at the front post can dummy it, or it just goes in off anybody. So just getting the ball across the box with a bit of pace, a bit of speed.
Like Sambo did. What was he doing on that wing there?
And Charlie Brown, he was there. You get the player in the right position, or anybody there, you drill it across. And I think it's good to have that versatility
Mm.
and just play the ball. Sometimes whip to the back if you've got the runner. And sometimes just drill it across and hope. Just pray really.
Well, as well as that, if that is your plan,
Yeah.
then your strikers are set up to anticipate that,
Yeah, of
aren't
course.
they?
Yeah.
But this is why I think he might go for another winger. I think
I
he
was
might have
thinking
another
he might,
winger.
yeah.
Again, it looks like he's trying to go with a bit of pace.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Saturday it was get the ball down and you get forward, and I like that about Edwards and about Adams, as well as the regular play. Jake Taylor, I thought had a
Yeah,
fantastic
did.
game on
And
Saturday.
also
But it
Charlie
was
Brown.
like get the ball, get forward, and it was good to watch. Damn
Yeah.
good to watch.
Yeah.
So we're looking ahead. We've got Milton Keynes, we've got Crewe on Tuesday with the referee Bentona. We'll say no more about that. But yeah, look, are you? Is it just a bit of euphoria from Mansfield, or is it realistic to say we're actually looking forward to those two now with a bit of optimism? Freddie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you've got to build on that performance. I think it's still been a bit rocky. My only concern's been the Jed. I think he's done reasonably well with the constraints, but he's like when we're on top of the game, we sometimes seem to. That's when we always concede. So I think if you sort that out on our away form, it's better as well. So yeah, I'd agree. We have a good chance of following up that result against MK, definitely.
Yeah. What about you, Dylan? Are you looking into it with optimism?
After the last performance against them, I'm more optimistic than I was now that we've played Mansfield and we didn't get battered, because I think most people expected a few goals to go in the net, but it's another week on the training ground, isn't it, with the new lads and new players just settling in. So I think we'll go there and give them a good game. You know, if we're going to play attacking football, we may as well just give it to them. You know, there's been times where we've played away from home and got battered in the last few years. Sunderland, Derby, and obviously they're bigger teams, but it's a big stadium. Again, I know it won't be full, probably not, but it's a hard place to go in terms of it's a big place, and they do have good players there, and they've already beat us, and we've got to switch up that game plan now. Just 2 weeks later, or soon.
I mean, it was a strange one, was that, because when they beat us, Milton Keynes, we thought they were one of the best teams we played this season, didn't they?
Yeah.
But we just beat Doncaster, who we thought were one of the worst, and then they go away to Doncaster and get banged. How do you explain that, man?
Everybody's beating everybody. We definitely owe MK Dons one. We've got quite a poor record at their ground, haven't we? So maybe this is the time, hopefully, you know.
I think 2 seasons on the trot, it was like one of the last few games of the season.
It was, but what I've noticed about them is they tend to be a team, if they get in front, they win.
Yeah.
If they go behind, they lose. I'm
Yes.
not saying that's every game, but that tends to be a pattern with them. So we need to go out.
We
strong
get an
against
early
them.
goal. Also, as
Catch
well,
on the hop.
a shout to Charlie Brown, who's had to sit on the bench, and you know, he's really been very patient, and he's got his chance, and fair credit to him. You know, he's looked good.
Yeah,
you know,
sharpish.
and he's really pleased that he scored that goal. You know,
we didn't talk about him in the main central striker role, because I was thinking more of target man type thing, which he's not.
Yeah.
But
he is a striker, isn't he?
Nippy Fox in the box,
Yeah,
he could come on.
Yeah.
Just a word as well, John McMahon returned this week. That was good news for everybody, I think. And we wish John well. You know, Jed said he needs support in the backroom staff, and he brought Dave on, didn't he? He brought him in last week.
Yes.
But we're all glad to hear that John McMahon's fit again.
Yeah.
And another thing, this announcement this week, I didn't know about the incident in the Harrogate game. But, you know, a plea to fans, you don't chuck things on the...
No.
You know, for people who don't know, the club has issued a statement saying, you know, we're getting a fine because something was thrown at the Harrogate keeper. It's mindless, isn't it?
Yeah, the club can't afford fines like that. It's as simple
And
as
it
that,
does nothing to the player other
No.
than make them laugh, you know. It's ridiculous.
No, yeah.
So we've got Milton Keynes coming up, and then Crewe, that's one back at home.
Mm-hmm.
Presume we're all going to that one, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
How do we look at that one? Different proposition
They're
to
having a good
MK?
season, aren't they? They're having a good season. So, but you know, I fancy us against anybody. You know, at home, if the crowd behind you, we're getting good crowds, aren't we? You know, 4,500 there on Saturday.
I mean, Mansfield fans were great, weren't they, on Saturday? But our lads gave the support that they needed to, lifted him at the right point.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll look forward to those, and we'll be talking about those games when we come back next week. So thanks to our panellists tonight. If anybody does want to get involved, just either message me or Matt Swindlehurst on Facebook, or put a little comment on the YouTube clip. I'd be glad to have any new pundits on here who think they can talk about Morecambe, as well as our chaps up tonight. So thanks for that, and we'll speak to you next week.